Well, delighted to say that here at the MODUS Super Series, I'm joined by two iconic referees in the world of darts. George Noble, who's always here, but it's a delight to have Russ Bray here with us for the first time at the Live Lounge. First of all, your first impressions of this place here at the MODUS Super Series?
Fantastic. I said that, George, when I pulled up. You know, it's set up absolutely terrific, and all your different, where you got your studio and things like that, out of this world. Absolutely terrific. It's great for dart players. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. All right, let's start by talking about you for a moment. Of course, last year you announced your retirement from reffing the big PDC.
Yeah, it's more of a step down than anything else. You know, it's a step down as opposed to retirement. The PDC made me an ambassador, so for at least 3 years. So at the end of the day, I'm doing a lot of bits and pieces like that. In as much as going out, I still do the Asian tour. So I go out to Asia every other month, sort of thing, it seems, and I do some of the World Series. So. The good thing is about that is I'm still seeing the people that I used to abroad, so it's more of a big link between the PDC and our people abroad, and I'm sort of the linchpin in between.
But don't quite see as much as each other anymore, I guess, George. Is that a good thing?
Sadly, no.
No, not really, because we've known each other, believe it or not. I'm now 56, and I've known Russ since I was below 10 years old, before we was...
That's all right.
Even neither of us had any inkling of being we was going to be dart referees. I was a bratty young darts player. I'm sure Russ will tell you about it. Russ is obviously a tad older, but he was playing in the teams in the local area and all that. Like, unbelievably, now we find ourselves like two of the most experienced refs that the game's seen. So it's mad, really.
Well, tell us about that then. You were both obviously interested in darts, but for each of you, what was your pathway to becoming a referee? We'll start with you, Russ.
Like I say, I played darts. I played county darts for Hertfordshire, and the caller never turned up. A guy called Steve Smiley for a county match. Well, as you know, the county setup's exactly what you get out here. You got your dartboard, you got your two markers, and the ref. And so I said, well, I'll call some numbers for you, help out like you do. And before I played my game, and went up there, called, walked off. Someone said, oh mate, that sounded all right. And I was really, really chuffed with the actual refereeing, because it's something totally different. It's so different than playing the game itself. Counting's different than everything else. I walked off, really enjoyed it. And Steve Smiley never turned up, so I called again with the county. And then you had the big splitting darts with the BDO and the PDC. And the PDC asked me in '96, was I interested in being a reserve referee? Because they had two fantastic referees in Bruce Bentley and Freddie Williams at the time. And I said, yeah, I'd love to have a go, because at that time he was getting banned from everything. I couldn't even play in my local league, you know, sadly is how that went. So I ended up saying yes, went to Blackpool '96, called it the match play. My first game had John Lowe, I can't remember who he played, and my second game was Paul Lim. So it was the two guys that had hit 9 darters at the given time, the only two. Wasn't televised, well, it was televised on the Sunday, but not shown live. They showed highlights of it on the Monday when they went live. And called there, come off the stage, Tommy Cox, bless him, who's no longer with us, he turned around and said to me, we're not having a reserve referee, and I thought, oh, I've blown this. He said, we're having 3 referees, welcome to the PDC, and that's really on the very basics how I got in.
Yeah, 30 odd years later.
Here I am, it's sitting here and, you know, just living the dream still.
A chance to look back. George, for you, was it a similar story?
Yeah, actually, it was very similar. So I was a local tournament, but a fairly big local tournament in South East London. It was the Two Worlds, Dow, do you remember it?
I do. Yeah.
Basically, the referee didn't turn up to do the semi-finals and finals, and I for some unknown reason, said I could do that, and they go, go on then. so I did, and. Phil Jones, who's a friend of mine, a great friend of Russ's, sadly not with us anymore. He was in the audience, and he used to be Bobby George's compere basically. That's how he made a lot of his name in the game with Bobby George, and obviously moved on to front the PDC at the time. Asked me if I'd step in and do a couple of exhibitions, because he was away with his work. So it was basically, could I do 6 weeks with Bobby George, which turned into 6 years, and that was an experience. Bob's an interesting character. Even today, he's a very entertaining character and has some great stories. So that was how I really first started, and then obviously went on from there. And Bobby sort of got me involved back then in the BDO, 94, I'd done some matches at the Masters, and 95 started to do some TV stuff. Sort of similar time to Russ, 95, 96. So, and very similar paths. So it's quite weird, really, how we've wound up here, actually starting completely. But there's no real apprenticeship, is there?
No,
there's not.
Well, it wasn't a professional darts referee, was it?
No.
At that given time, you know, I like to think that I really became a professional dart. I was one of the first ones to actually make it my living. Although you had Freddie Williams and Bruce Spenley, they were basically retired, so theirs was just for fun. It was just bunces. Mine, I made it a living, so I actually made it a professional darts referee, if you see what I mean. And that's where it stemmed from there, you know, because you worked at the brewery at the time.
Yeah. I worked for a brewery for at the time, up until 2007, and I obviously I knew Russ for years, as I explained, and obviously spoke to Tommy Cox a few times. He came out to some of the tournaments. There was a couple of cross-code tournaments back in the day, the WT and IDL, and long story short, after I got to about that position, I had a good job.
Very good job.
I just thought, you know, I've got some qualifications for the job that I did. I thought, well, maybe I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go for a year or two, see if I can make a living out of it. And, you know, then make a decision, reveal it in 12, 24 months. And so if you've asked me the same decision now with a bit more brains, I wouldn't have done it. But it was the best thing I've done, because I probably, you know, didn't see it, didn't have the responsibilities that I had now.
I'll tell you what, in the same lines as that, I was working for Robbie Bain, who is a manager of Rob Cross, Josh Rock and that. He was my boss, I was a scaff. And Rabbi brought Scott, as you know, in his accent, and he said, Rusky, I need to get a full week out of you. And at the time, I'd only just sort of really kicked in, getting the odd exhibition, the odd bit of work, and don't forget, we had nowhere near the amount of tournaments then as we do now with the PDC. So it was, you know, he was trying to scratch a living, really. And Rabbi turned around and said to me, he said, look, mate, he said, give the darts a go. If it don't work, you've got a job with me anyway, which was a nice cushion to have in the back of your head. So if it didn't work, I had something there, a bit similar to yourself with your qualifications, you know. So, and fortunately, I got a bit on myself. Fortunately, at odd times, Rabbi would ring me up, Russ, come and help us out. And, you know, he nicked a few bob there and in that sense. But eventually, I got it so that, you know, it did really, really become a living. It didn't need anything else.
Over time now, when we look back, there's a big match. It's usually one of you two reffing, maybe Paul Hinks, Bruce Spenley, people like that, but usually one of you two guys. What would you say now, having sort of had this long career, are the key components of being a top-class darts referee? Confidence of the players having the confidence or having, you know, faith in you. You've got to command the stage for a start. You know, it's not just up there. Well, it is called in numbers, obviously. You know, some call them better than others. When you go have a look on YouTube to see how better the boys are than I am, I ain't the greatest referee in that sense by far. I'm a long way off of that. These boys count a lot quicker and a lot better than I do. But you've got a presence up there, and I think that's very important. You're a character in yourself. You know, George is a character in himself. It was always the puppy under Mike Fitzmaurice. You know, suddenly become a name, becomes something. You know, it was the voice, and so it was something there. But the players always respected what you've done, and so that's one thing. The other thing, go out there with confidence. Go out there with confidence. Have your own bent on what you do. George has got, you know, his own bent on what he does, is what he calls the 180, is what he does his calling altogether. Hinksy does. Paul Hinks, very, very different and very different, you know, in his way.
180.
I was lucky my voice was deeper, so that was what really got me noticed. But so yeah, it's you know, the biggest thing, enjoy it. Honestly, the biggest thing, go out there and enjoy it. You know, whether you screw up or whether you don't. You know, if you screw up, you're going to have plenty of people tell you have, but...
Oh,
yeah. You know, but... At the
You're going
end
to have
of the
plenty of
day-
people telling you you're good.
Oh, no one. No one says that.
It's interesting, though, because as Russ said, that the answers he gave straight away weren't the ones that probably most people are expecting, which is going to be the numbers and the call. There's a lot more to it, isn't there?
100%. What Russ is, I think, because we've obviously had the experience of starting off, look, the first time, we're not going to sit here and lie to you, the first time we'd done something on TV, we was nervous. You know, on a big stage, you're very nervous.
Hear your heart thumping in your
You know,
ears.
so, and you're going to be. But the key things, as Russ mentioned there, is you're never going to be confident the first time you do it, but you've got to grow your confidence. So confidence is key. Stage presence is key. If you've got... There's loads of referees, but there's not that many referees that command the stage and have stage presence and not scared to make a decision or do something when the time's right.
Exactly that.
And that's key as well. Yes, mathematics comes into it, obviously. And, you know, certain people like certain different voices. Everyone's got opinions on what's good and what's bad. That's like, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, the most famous referee that's ever refereed is Russ. His voice is iconic. Everybody knows him because of his voice. And Russ is a confident person, like he's explained. And the key is, if you do get something wrong, the worst thing, look, we've all done it. Because when you make a mistake, you think, oh God, everyone's seen it. Oh God, I won't put them off. But that's the worst thing you can do. You just got to try to forget it, reset, start again. Because there's not the best mathematician referee is Kirk Bevins. I mean, mathematics is unbelievable. Even Kirk makes the odd mistake. It'd be very difficult to find, but he'll tell you himself that he's made a mistake. So everybody makes mistakes. If you're scared of making a mistake, you'll make one. Simple as that, really. It's confidence is more than anything. Yeah, you've got to be good at maths.
Like Georgie says there, if you dwell on a mistake, you'll make another one. You think, oh, no, because you're thinking, no, that should have been 17, blah, blah, blah. They've already thrown it. Now you've got to reset and go again, and you'll make another one. You know, as I say, that's something that comes with experience and confidence.
100%. Yeah.
You know, you make a mistake, you get over it, you get on with it. You know, it's you're human, and that's the key factor. You're human. But get up there and enjoy it.
And look, a mistake could be a miscount. It could be a sore throat. It could be anything like that. But one thing I do want to touch on, you both mentioned having an authority on stage. Yeah. These are the stuff that people really want to know. Which players are difficult to referee for those kind of reasons?
Well,
if you want to go retired only, that's fine.
I'll give you for example. Was at the Ali Pally, Merv King playing Lookbecker. Merv's, I think, something like 2 sets 0 up, 1-0 up. On the third set there, and a bank of lights went out. Yeah, so it sort of dimmed it down. So it wasn't unplayable, but it was dim. As Merv's thrown, Merv said to me, "Lights have gone out." I said, "Yeah, no, mate. Wait till the end of the leg, and I'll time it out and we'll sort it out." Throws again, Lookbecker throws. He throws again. Lights. I said, "Yeah, wait till the end of the leg, mate." Finish end leg, Lookbecker wins it. Game shot in the first leg, Lookbecker. Time out. I then, because you've got the studio at the back there, at the Ali Pally, you've got the studio at the top there. Get onto the mic, turn around and tell everybody, look, ladies and gentlemen, we've had an issue with the lights. We're just going to suspend the game for 5 minutes, or for a minute until it's sorted. So now everybody knows. Sky knows, the TV guys and girls presenters up in the, what's his name, know, and the crowd know. So now we stood there. Brian Ferris, tournament director, looks at me and says, "I'm off the stage." So, because we're in the background of the studio. So, yep, coming in, off we go. I said, coming in, off we go off stage. I've got practice balls down the back there. So I said, right, coming in, Merv, off we go. He said, "I'm staying up here practicing." I said, "No." I said, "Merv, you're not. We've been asked to leave the stage. Come on, mate, off we go." He said, "I'm staying here practicing." I said, "Merv, you're not." So I'm stood between Merv and the board anyway. I said, "Merv, you're not staying on the stage. We're coming off the stage, mate. We've been asked to leave the stage. What's the name?" Where in the rules does it say that? And now the camera's on myself and Merv talking to each other. Yeah. Wayne Mardle even commentates on it. Where in the rules does it say that? And I looked at him and said, I said, "Mate, it don't say that in the rules, but what does say in the rules, I'm the ref, I'm in charge of the stage." I said, "So we're going off, aren't we?" And I'm ushering him off. And as we walked off, he looked at me and said, "You better be right." I said, "Well, let's hope I am, mate." And off we went. So you get incidents like that. Yeah. You know, it's to be honest, the thing is, Merv come back and Lookbecker turned him over, beat him, so he was not happy bunny. But in all honesty, Merv went on to the PDPA, the guys, the association for the players, and next day sent me a lovely text through, you know, "Mate, I apologise, you know me, if I did make a mistake, I'll apologise just straight away." That's exactly what I've done. It's the spur of the moment. It's the spur of the moment at that given time, isn't it? So, you know, I mean, you've had a few.
Gezzy and Daryl Gurney, and I think it was Belfast, I believe, in the Premier League. was an interesting conversation between the two of them. But like, you know, you get things like that, and you get some players. You know, I've had an incident with Darren Webster at the UK Open, things like that. But I speak to Darren.
A good one with him in Prague.
I mean, Darren's Darren. He's not a bad lad. You know what I mean? But he's in the heat at the moment, and you know, you've got to understand that they're playing for big money and it's big pressure and things like that. And you know, they don't quite clearly see everything. They see it how they want to see it. It's just that you got to interpret it, and you got to actually have the.
Bring it back to reality.
Well, but you got to have the confidence to actually intervene, to say, well, no, hang on a minute. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Now, I think one key bit of advice is if you get to a position where you have to make a decision, make the decision. Whether it's wrong or whether it's right, make the decision. Don't stand there and don't make a decision. And then when you get to the end of the match, it blows up out of proportion. Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you stop it? If you make a decision and it's wrong, I'm a great believer is, you know, if I was in charge of the tournament and someone made a decision, and it was a logical decision, be it wrong or right, make the decision. Do something about it. Don't stand back and be scared to make a decision. And that only comes, like Russ says, that only comes with experience and confidence. And you look, you're going to get, if there ain't someone, I don't mean there's a person alive who makes the 100% the correct decision all the time. But you just got to have the confidence to actually get involved and make the decision.
In other sports, referees often get blamed for the outcome of matches. Is that, you don't have to give any names, but has that ever happened to you?
I'll tell you what, the thing is, if you do make a up, even if it's just a simple, 86, you will have someone on Twitter or Facebook will turn and say, yeah, Russ Bray put him off, he's done that, that's why he lost. If that's what they want to believe, the thing is you've got an awful lot of trolls on there, haven't you?
Yeah.
That people want a reaction as well. And some people just generally don't like you. That's I'll give everybody that. I'll be honest with you, right? There's not one person I've ever blocked on Facebook or Twitter, solely because at the end of the day they're entitled to their own opinion. And it's that old saying, I can't please all the people all the time, but hopefully you please most of them, most of it. And that's the attitude I go up there with, So if Bert Bloggins over here don't like me, well, that's his problem, and it really isn't mine.
Are you implying, is it like social media wise, or actually implying player wise of you?
Either. If you've got a player in mind, George, feel free to.
I'm not sure I'll mention the player, but I think we both need to take our shoes and socks off and use both hands to count how many times it's been our fault.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
What the best thing that's happened? This is what I've said. Look, I've said this for many years. But as the players walk off the stage, when they go around the back, they should have a mirror. Should have a full-length mirror, and above the mirror it say, "It's your fault."
100%. 100%.
That's all it should say. It's your fault, because at the end of the day, they threw them. I didn't. And that's what I believe. But yeah, of course we get blamed. We get blamed. We've been blamed more times than I can remember.
I had one incident, again, I won't mention it, but I had one incident there where I even said to the player, don't make me your excuse to lose. Don't make me your excuse to lose. You should have won. They was up 6-4 or whatever it is and lost 7-5, something like that, or whatever it was, or 7-6, whatever it was. Don't make me your excuse to lose. I'm up there for both players. I'm not up there for one. You're up there for both players. See both players get fair play. The player lost. He's embarrassed. He should have won. Yeah. So now, he gets his frustration out on the first person. The first person that's up there that you can shake hands with, or not, as the case may be in one incident. It's going to be you. Yeah.
And Russ will tell you that's not like that's. Inevitably, there's not that many players that don't have their moment.
Oh, they're all at the moment.
And we're talking, you could name all the most famous players that play today and have played in the past.
Yes, they
have all been guilty of not looking in that mirror.
That's all right. That's right.
So the answer's everyone then.
Well, not everybody, but
basically. Basically.
A fair few.
Tell you what, a very high percentage.
Very high percentage.
Very high percentage.
It would definitely be higher than what we averaged in our match anyway.
Look, we spoke about
everything's higher than that, George.
Spoke about that side of it. The good side, of course, is you've got the best position in the house for some of the most incredible sporting moments ever. Just quickly give us some memories of. We'll start with you, George. The favourite moment you've ever refereed.
Well, quite a few really, I guess. But I mean, I'd done the game where Phil had 2 9 darts against James Wade in the final of the Premier League. That was probably one of the best ones. I've done the massive average match between Adrian Lewis, Phil Taylor at the Grand Slam. Years and years ago, refereed 2004 final of the Lakeside, which Andy Fordham won, who I was very close to at the time. Completely impartial. Did I want him to win? Yeah, I did want him to win, but I'm not going to say I didn't, but I did. So I guess that they would stick there. But there's been so many over the years, been so many good players, and the standards through the roof now, and it's exciting. You ref games and you ref loads of games, but there's certain players, if you're refereeing them, you don't know what they're capable of doing. You know what they're capable of doing, and you're waiting for them to do something special. So you got it's. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but your interest level is more absorbed in this match. I mean, obviously, like Phil was dominating, and then Michael was dominating, and now you've got Luke Humphries is a great player. You've got Luke Littler breaking through, and people like that. I think it's like you can liken it to snooker. People want to watch Ronnie O'Sullivan, they want to watch Judd Trump, and that's no disrespect to the other players because they're all very good players, and some are
more exciting than the others, haven't they?
Some are exciting, if you know what I mean.
What about you, Russ? Does one stick out?
Yeah, a couple actually. Very first 9-darter on Sky with Phil in Blackpool, the match played 2002 against Mace, and it was in the 5th leg. Funny, I sort of remember it because we went for a break, a natural break. So it was history there.
Did you get the beers in?
Sorry?
Did he get the beers in?
Sorry? I think I might have answered that, yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2?
No.
The £100,000.
Yeah, 100 grand. The other one was the Barney Taylor final, 2007. It's quite poignant, actually, because it was the first time Barney had come over. Playing Phil in the final, there was 20-odd 180s that Barney hit. He went to the sudden death leg as well. It was the very last one at the Circus Tavern. And went to the sudden death leg, had the ball up. Barney won the ball, because at then days you left...
Phil gave him a massive guide, didn't he?
Yeah, the dart went in, stayed there. Barney said, I'll leave it there. That's why the rule changed.
Obviously, it was a massive advantage.
Yeah, Barney laid his dart over the top of Phil's in the ball, so he won the ball, went off first. He went off, Phil went off, hit a 180. I thought, well, that's it, it's all over now. Barney followed him with a 180. And Phil sort of Phil hit a wall, bang. Barney went on, hit double top and became world champion in 2007. So that's another one.
Is there ever a time when you stood there thinking, did I put the lottery on? Did I lock the car? What am I getting from the Chinese takeaway tonight?
That's my one. I have stood there, especially with slower players. And I'll never disrespect any slow player. You play at your speed. But the slower the player, I'm more likely to make a mistake personally. Because I stand there and I go, dunk. I'm going to have a Chinese tonight. Dunk. Think I might have prawn ball. Dunk. 100. Yep, fried rice and a dunk. And then all of a sudden you think, where am I in the match? Jesus, you know what I mean? And I do. You drift off on a fast game. Rick Evans versus Gary Anderson, I would very, very rarely make a mistake because you are so concentrated, because it's so quick. It's action all the time. So that's how that works.
Yeah, you're right. The dangerous is when you've got too much time.
Yeah.
And like Russ has said, I mean, do we think of what we're having to eat? Of course we do. Do we think of, I'll stand there and think of all sorts of things, and then like I'll look round, and I've done it. But I remember doing a game, and you have one when you're a referee. What a lot of people don't realise is, so you have a marker in front of you, but where you're standing, you have a marker behind you. So what you need to do is obviously what I tend to do is that a little score. You get used to working with really good markers, which sometimes could be an hindrance because you might not keep your eye on so much because it's actually your job to check the scores as well as it is to say the scores.
Right.
So you look at the pads and I've done it before, and I'm standing there and I'm looking over there. He's had 4 shots, and it's his go again. Look round there, and he's had 2. I'm like, oh. No, I said the scores, obviously I wrote them down, and I'm like, it's his go again. Hang on a minute, he's had 15 darts, he's only had 6, this is not fair. But, I've done that. I've called someone the wrong name.
Yeah.
I called, it was actually back in the Lakeside days, it was Steve somebody, and I called him Steve Beaton. Steve Beaton weren't even there. I've done that. I've looked at the dartboard before. For some reason, gone completely blank. Obviously thinking, am I having a madras tonight or what am I doing? Look around like that. He's at 320s. I've gone 140. It was Wes Newton in Germany, right? Is it 3 of the biggest 20s you've ever seen? I called 140. Wes was crying, absolutely crying. Couldn't stop laughing.
Well, it must be a Wes thing because I called a 180 for him when he hit a 140.
It's the way they go in. They go in dodgy. Bad lighting.
So
Bad lighting.
Tavern, I've got Dennis Priestley's game, whoever he was playing, but I was chatting with Dennis Ovens before I went up there. I'm chatting away, Dennis going, no, Dennis, donkey's years we played darts together and all sorts. I'm going to go to their game shot in the first set. Dennis Ovens. I said, sorry, Dennis Priestley.
But Dennis,
Dennis Priestley wasn't the quickest player, but the beauty about Dennis Priestley in his heyday, trust me, he'd go out in 12, 11, 30. So where he was slow, he was going out in very low darts. So it was equivalent to someone throwing quick going out in 15. You know what I mean?
Great player, Dennis. He's done something to me once. It was at Birmingham Premier League, 6,500 people, NIA, packed, noise, mental. Last game on, Dennis is playing. I can't remember his playing. So he throws his practice darts halfway through the first leg. Now, can you imagine? It's the Premier League. They're going bananas. They've all had a few drinks and they're just like doing the Mexican wave. They're just really enjoying themselves. Let's put it this way. Dennis said, George, can you do me a favour? I said, what's that, Dennis? He said, you ask them for a bit of order, please. Can you ask them to be quiet? I looked at him. I looked at them. I looked at him. I looked at them. I said, okay. And he just threw. I never said a word. And I think he was looking at me thinking, is he going to say anything?
Is he going to do it?
Well, I could do, but they'd probably pull me in. Do you know what I mean?
Always lively then.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't nothing bad. But Dennis was a fantastic player, one of the greatest players I've ever seen for a few years. I mean, he was unbelievable. But he was Dennis more old school. How he played the game. You know?
Look, guys, I'm sure there's a million stories you can tell. We'll have to get you back on, but I don't want to let you leave, Russ, without telling us about, you mentioned it before, that nickname, The Voice.
Yep.
That's got you in a lot of other places apart from darts, hasn't it?
Certainly has. I've been very lucky to do a lot of voiceovers for films, for adverts. I was a voice on McCoy's Chris many years ago. I was a voice on Governor.
And the cartoon film. Yep.
Yeah, I was on a kids CD called The Land of Sometimes, and what's the name? As a River Slout Sling, which they've making into a movie, an animated movie. The original guys and girls off the CD was David Williams, Ewan McGregor, Helena Bonham Carter, and Terry Jones. And it was, fantastic to be involved with those sort of people. And I'll tell you what, funny enough, I mentioned him earlier on, Dennis Ovens. It was actually his wife, Kathy Ovens, that gave me the nickname. She done a poster of me years ago when I first started, 96 sort of thing. And she'd done a poster, and it my picture on it, like pictures it would sell. And she put Russ the Voice Bray underneath it. And that's what stuck. Yeah, thanks, Kathy.
And just finally, who's got the best 180 call?
Well, he's got the most recognisable.
Yeah, but his voice is sort of choir boy, perfect
I've always
pitch.
been a choir boy, Russ, haven't I?
Did you work on your 180 call?
No.
You never? It just came?
No.
And the same for you?
No.
But it's quite funny because it does change, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does change.
Over-
I've noticed the change, but it changed without noticing it.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
If you get an old video and go back of me when I, in 95, 96, or even up to 2000, whatever, and listen to it then and listen to it now, the difference is amazing. Same with Russ.
Yeah, totally.
But people, what they don't realise about Russ, and I've told them loads of times, they go, "Wow, that bloke does a 180. Does he always speak like that?" They think he puts it on. I said, no, he always speaks like that. He's not acting. His voice is deep. That's how he speaks. But look, without a shadow of a doubt, there's no one as recognisable voice-wise in world darts other than Russ. Russ is
Look, you know what we're going to do. Viewers can decide, can't they? So turn to that middle camera to end this. Maybe turn your TV sets down a little bit, or the volume on your phone. We'll start with George, straight into Russ, the 180 calls.
180.
180.
Game shot on the match.